Hello again and welcome to another episode of I Want to Talk About This Album. And today I'm going to introduce a newcomer to the series, a guy by the name of Ted Nugent. You've probably heard of this guy. I never thought I would talk about Ted Nugent, let alone have a Ted Nugent album. I'll get to that shortly. Now, speaking of newcomers, I still do have, I counted before I started this, I still have 12 bands upcoming in this series, 12 bands that I have yet to talk about. I still have some other bands that I've talked about before, and I've got more albums to talk about. Some bands you're familiar with, but they're still yet to be talked about. 12 new bands and artists, so stay tuned in the coming months. And that's just for records. I still got to get through all these albums that I bought last year and everything. And I think I might throw some CDs into the mix too. So in addition to those 12 albums of bands I haven't talked about in this series, there might be some CDs here and there. We'll see. So Ted Nugent, today it's going to be Weekend Warriors. I hate Ted Nugent. I personally, I think he's a complete moron musically. Let's put him in the same category as, you know who they are, Bon Scott era AC/DC, Neil Young, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. These are bands or artists that I hated at one point and now I love. Well, Ted Nugent I hated at some point, and now I can't say I hate him now, but I don't really like him. But I thought I would give him a try, and that's because I got this, and you know what, I got this Weekend Warriors record. This is one of the first records I got when I started this vinyl kit, which started with Metallica 72 Seasons. Because I guess going a little bit further back than that, it started with Kiss Alive. Because, you know, I got Kiss Alive, you know the story. I got Kiss Alive in 1976, and I still have it. I guess you can't see it, but down there in the corner, the actual copy that I got in 1976, I still have. And I thought, I want a new copy of it. And, you know, with the booklet and everything, I got that in like 2022. And then I thought, that's it. I don't want any more records. Kiss Alive was all I wanted. Then I got 72 Seasons, and that opened the floodgates. So this was one of the very first records I got a couple of years ago when I started this recent vinyl spree, if that's what you want to call it. Now you can see this is really beat up. It's in really bad shape. This was, I think I paid 100 pesos for this at a record store, not a record store, but kind of a weird, a store here in my city in Cuernavaca. They sell used records, books, old cameras, and you know, things like that. And I saw this and a couple of other Ted Nugent records for 100 pesos. I thought, even though, and you can see, I don't know if you can see or not, but there's tape on it, and it's in horrible condition, the cover anyway. This, if you bought it probably in the States or Canada or maybe in European stores, it would be like $2. This was 100 pesos, which is $5 or $6, so pretty expensive relative to other places, but cheap from Mexico. So I thought, oh, why not? I'll try Ted Nugent. Now I do like a couple of songs. I have to say, I love Wango Tango, the song. And I remember one of my, in the early days of my musical journey, probably in 1980, 81, around there, Ted Nugent had an album called Scream Dream, and I used to see that in the record stores, and I loved it. I thought, this is incredible. I never bought it. I don't know why. You know, he's standing here like this. His arms become guitars, and he's wearing, I think it's in that one, he's wearing a loincloth. I don't know why, but I thought that was cool that he was wearing a loincloth. He had long hair. His mouth was agape, and it just was a great album cover. I thought it was great, but never really got into it. I only really knew a handful of Ted Nugent songs and liked them all, but never enough to really, you know, go out and buy his records. I obviously knew Cat Scratch Fever, the song, Wango Tango, Wang Dang Sweet Poontang. Maybe an overlooked song that I knew was Tied Up in Love, which was from the Penetrator album in 1984. I think when Ted kind of became a little bit, you know, hair metal, you know, maybe he never really caught on. I love that song, Tied Up in Love, but never got any records. And so I got this, and I only got around to listening to it today. And, well, you'll see when I go through it track by track. It's not a very good, it's okay, it's all right. It's not a very good sounding record. I found that you can't really even hear the drums on it. You know the drums are there, and there are some points when you can hear the drums. Kiss Hotter Than Hell reminds me of that too. The drums are almost non-existent. I feel like also the vocals on this are not quite loud enough. yeah, it's just overall not the best sounding record. It was produced funnily enough, it's a strange word, funnily, by Tom Werman, who produced Shout at the Devil, one of my absolute favorites of all time. He produced Twisted Sister, Stay Hungry. I think he produced some Cheap Trick records. Anyway, but I don't know, and again, maybe that's why I think producers don't deserve the blame for bad records, nor the credit for good records. So getting to Ted Nugent personally, and I think I'm pretty good at separating the music from the person. Sometimes they're the same. I don't like the music and I don't like the person, and sometimes I like the music and the person. Sometimes it's kind of a mix. And I did see Ted Nugent once opening for Kiss on the Crazy Nights tour. And at that point, I was 17 years old, and I thought, Ted Nugent, he's, again, like AC/DC, Bon Scott era AC/DC. He's for the old people, and same with Led Zeppelin. I thought, Ted Nugent, I don't care about Ted Nugent. And didn't really care about him opening for Kiss, although I did watch him. So Ted, personally, I think he's a moron, as I said. I think at this point it was about 4 minutes ago. He's just a big mouth, idiotic, obnoxious asshole. That's what I think of Ted Nugent. Now, personally, what he thinks about politics or how the world works, I guess I don't really care too much when it comes to his music. But as I said, I was never a big fan of his music either. And he's one of those rare guys. Who else is like this? I don't know. I guess there are some people who are like this, who even when I agree with what they say in principle, I just think they're a fucking idiot the way that they say it. Now, I'll give you an example with Ted Nugent. A couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, I guess many years before that, Rolling Stone, and I don't care about Rolling Stone magazine, they published a list of what they called the 100 best or greatest guitarists. And Ted was not on that list, but Joan Jett was on that list. And Ted Nugent, I think probably rightfully, said, why is Joan Jett on that list? And this is nothing against Joan Jett, but like, would anybody say Joan Jett is my favorite guitarist? Or would anybody say Joan Jett is a great guitarist? I'm not saying she's not, and I'm not saying her music is not good, but she is a guitarist? Come on. I think Ted Nugent is a great guitarist. Much better than Joan Jett. I'm not saying he should have even been on this list. So in principle, I agree with him. But then of course and I don't remember if he said this on Twitter or if it was in an interview. Just the way that he framed it. Of course, he brought up the fact that she's a lesbian, which seemed pretty stupid. Seemed completely stupid. And how did he say? He said something like, he said it was like lies. How does Joan Jett get on that list? By lying. I don't know if he meant that she was lying or the people making the list were lying. I do remember he referred to somebody as a soulless prick. A prick without a soul. I guess it was the guy or the people who made the list, saying that their list was lies. He never said, Ted Nugent, should be on the list in place of Joan Jett. But it pretty much came across as that. That's how I remembered it anyway. So I was reading this going, yeah, you're right, Ted Nugent. But you're also an asshole just because of the way you present your argument. So, and I'm trying to think who else is like that. I don't know. But yeah, I don't like Ted Nugent, or definitely don't like him personally. Musically, some good stuff, some I could take it or leave it. But largely I don't have too much of an opinion about Ted Nugent. I think that's all. Can I go through it track by track? And look at this very, very American and very Ted Nugent album cover. His guitar is a gun. Wow, can you believe it? Isn't that incredible that he somehow magically transforms his if you look at it like this, it looks like a guitar, and then magically it becomes a gun, and there's I don't know if these are bullets, or I guess they're not bullets. Are those shell casings? I don't know anything about guns, and I don't really care to learn anything about guns. But I mean, it is a pretty cool, aside from the fact that it's a gun, if you took that away, I think, man, that's a fucking really cool cover. He's shirtless, he's lithe, he's he's got these suspenders, he's got the big bell-bottom shirts, he's ripping on the guitar, he's making a guitar face, he's got a headband. Pretty cool album cover, except for the fact that it's a gun. And what is it? Is that a double barrel Shotgun, again, I'm not the guy to talk about guns, but it's vertical. The double barrels are vertical. I thought a double barrel shotgun was, the barrels were vertical. Sorry, I thought they were horizontal. Anyway, so kind of a cool album cover, but also kind of stupid. And now this version that I got, it is the Mexican version, and you know what that means? That means it's got the in many cases literally, in all cases literally, in some cases poorly translated song titles. And there's the back of the album cover, which is kind of strange. It's Ted looking kind of seductively at the listener, or I guess in this case the person. Oh, nice eyes, Ted. A little bit strange, but so this has the song titles in Spanish, which are not on the back album cover, but they are on the actual record. I like reading these. They're cool, and horrible packaging. God, I hate this more than anything. Just this awful plastic, clear or transparent plastic. It's hard to get back in. I hate it. So in Spanish, the song titles need, and of course I need notes for this, which I'll get to. So the first track is "Need You Bad," which is "Te necesito urgentemente." Next is "One Woman," "Una Mujer." Okay. Next is "I Got the Feeling," "Tengo ese sentimiento." "Tight Spots." Oh no, there's a misprint here. It says "tights spots" instead of "tight spots." And it's "En aprietos." 5 is "Venom Soup." That's a great song title. I'll talk about the song momentarily. "Sopa this is hard for me to say. Envenenada. Sopa Envenenada. And the other side, Smokescreen, is "Cortina de Humo." "Weekend Warriors," "Guerrilleros de Fin de Semana." "Cruisin'" is "Paseándose." "Good Friends and a Bottle of Wine" is "Buenos Amigos y una botella de vino." And the last song is "Name Your Poison," which is "Nombra tu veneno." So they have veneno as poison and venom. There's no, I guess in Spanish, there's just one word for that. And you know what? The reason I'm talking about this today is after, I bought this album a year and a half ago and kind of forgot about it. Two things. When I bought it, I didn't have my big collection over here. And I just kind of bought it and put it aside. And then when I started buying records, I was focusing on the ones that I bought and forgot that I had this and I think 2 or 3 other Ted Nugent's records, which I guess I'll get to at some point, no hurry. And just forgot about it. And then, I don't know, I think it was it yesterday or 2 days ago, I was in the shower of all places, and I've talked about this before. I have like 11,000 songs downloaded on my phone, not Spotify, but downloaded in MP3. It's funny to think that that now at this point MP3 is old school, because when MP3s were kind of getting popular in 2000, 2001, that was new technology, and CDs were old school. And at some point, records were old school, and still are. You know what I'm talking about. And so I was in the shower, and I usually just I put one song on in my stereo, fill the room with music, and then it's on random, and it'll play random songs. So I was in the shower, and a song came on. I was showering, and I thought, I kind of like the song. Ooh, I wonder who this is. And I didn't recognize it as being Ted Nugent. And then when I heard the song title, I did recognize that as a song title. I thought, okay, this is Ted Nugent. That's a good song. I like it. And so I'm going to listen to it. Yeah, it was yesterday. So that's why I listened to this today and why I'm talking about it today. And I'll tell you what song that is when I get to it. So going through this track by track now, and I have to get this back in now. And you can see it doesn't fit properly. And look at this. It's the top of the record is split. Horrible. They should be giving records like this away. This should be 10 pesos. So let me get my notes here. So the first song is, and also another thing I should add, there's a guy, and I have no idea who this guy is. The singer on most of these songs is a guy called Charlie Hoon. And I did have to cheat. I don't like reading Wikipedia and getting information about the records before I talk to them. I like to go, which means I'm going to make mistakes, and there's going to be some things I don't know. But as I've said, I like for this to be kind of like, just me talking with friends, except I have no friends, so I'm talking to the camera. But I did cheat because when I listened to this, I didn't recognize the voice. And so I looked up on the internet and I found that it's a guy called Charlie Hoon, who sings, I think, all the songs except 3. So Charlie Hoon is the singer on the first track, which is called Need You Bad, and it's a kind of a typical 70s hard rock, up-tempo opening song that you would, find on as the opening song on any hard rock record in the 70s. And it's an okay song, nothing wrong with it. But this guy, Charlie Hoon, I like Ted Nugent's voice way better than Charlie Hoon. I would like, probably all these songs that Charlie Hoon sings, I would like them much better if Ted Nugent sang. I don't like Ted Nugent, the way he speaks is that kind of fast, David Lee Roth is kind of like that too, but I think Ted Nugent's singing voice is excellent, or at least very good. Better than, I prefer it over Charlie Hoon. Next is One Woman. This is also Charlie Hoon. I hear just a little hint of Cat Scratch Fever. The Cat Scratch Fever riff, I can hear that a little bit in the opening riff of One Woman. I don't like this song at all. I think it sucks. It's this bluesy, the Bad to the Bone. I'm not saying it sounds like Bad to the Bone, but it's just got that bluesy. I've talked about this with Motorhead had songs like this. Just really don't like those bluesy songs. There's a million of them. I don't really think I like any of them. Next is I Got the Feelin', and it's feelin' with an apostrophe, not feeling. I Got the Feelin'. This is Ted Nugent singing. This is a fast rocker. It's much more up tempo, and I think I like this one better because it is Ted singing. I think he just sings with more energy. He does a little bit of that kind of scatting that he does, and he does a little bit in this song. That one's pretty good. I Got the Feeling. Next is Tight Spots. I'm not sure what this is about. I'm sure I caught something in the lyrics about a vertical smile. I don't know what that means. But Tight Spot, this is going back to Charlie Hoon singing. This is it's a hard rock song, and it's pretty good. And there's a song, if anybody out there is an old wrestling fan, this wrestling, and in the 80s, I guess it was, there was a faction of wrestlers called the Freebirds. It was Michael P.S. Hayes and Terry Gordy, and I don't know who else, but they had a song called Bad Street, USA, Bad Street, Atlanta, GA. And this one, Tight Spots, really reminded me of, brought to mind, although obviously Bad Street, USA came after Tight Spots, but to me, very, very reminiscent. Tight Spots was of Bad Street, USA, Freebirds. Next is Venom Soup, as I mentioned earlier. It's a great song title. And for me, at least of side one, there's maybe one song that I like better, but I think Venom Soup is the one song on this that I really like. It has almost an epic feel to it. I think it's a little bit more original, more unique than the typical hard rock songs that are on this album. It seems that it would be, it's a little bit slower, and I think this would be, I feel like this would be, and I don't know anything about Ted Nugent live. I don't know what his signature songs are, the songs that he's played through his whole career. I don't know if he has famous songs that he doesn't play. No, really nothing about him live. I don't know if he ever plays Venom Soup live, but I feel like it would be good live, and they could extend it by another 2, 3, 4 minutes. And then side two, the first track is Smokescreen, still with Charlie Hoon singing. Smokescreen, nothing special, not bad like One Woman, the bluesy Bad to the Bone song, but just nothing stood out to me about Smokescreen. Next is the title track, Weekend Warriors. This was kind of upbeat, up-tempo, kind of fast rocker, but nothing really great about it. Next is Cruisin'. Now I think that this was when I listened to it, it's I'm sure it was Ted Nugent singing the vocals in the verses, and then Charlie Hoon singing the vocals in the chorus. I wish Ted Nugent had sang the whole song. I wish he, as I said, wish he sang all these songs. But yeah, Cruisin' is a pretty good song. And two more, Good Friends and a Bottle of Wine. This is the one that I mentioned earlier. Two things about this. One, this is the one that when I was in the shower, this caught my attention. And as it was playing, I was going, who is this? I kind of like this song. And then when the chorus came, Good Friends and a Bottle of Wine, I thought, this is Ted Nugent. And the reason I know that is because Pantera, one of my favorite bands, they have a song called Good Friends and a Bottle of Pills. The army is outside my house. Guys with big machine guns. There's like 6 of them with all their fatigues, their helmets, and their machine guns, and my dog is barking at them. Very nice to live in a neighborhood where the army has to be on patrol. So Good Friends and a Bottle of Wine and Pantera, Good Friends and a Bottle of Pills. And I didn't know for years and years, I would even say it was maybe only 5 years ago, I just thought Good Friends and a Bottle of Pills by Pantera, that was the name of the song. I didn't know that they lifted that from Ted Nugent, Good Friends and a Bottle of Wine. And I think at that point I hadn't heard the song. I just somehow saw somewhere, oh, Ted Nugent has a song called Good Friends and a Bottle of Wine. But I like that song. Maybe that one or Venom Soup are my two favorites. This also has a little bit of that Bad Street USA Freebirds. Bad Street USA, Bad Street LNGA, Good Friends and a Bottle of Wine. That's what I thought anyway. But yeah, Good Friends and a Bottle of Wine, good song. And then the last song is Name Your Poison. This was also Ted singing the vocals, some wailing guitar through the whole album, through the whole song. Good song, I like this one too, and I definitely have more of a proclivity, I don't know if that's the word, to liking the songs that Ted Nugent sings. And this one is a little bit almost anthemic. I feel like it kind of got to a point where it could have been like a good live song, an anthemic song, but they didn't quite take it far enough. Yeah, so that's it. So yeah, that's all for Ted Nugent. And I guess I will at some point get to, I think I have State of Shock. I don't usually give these spoilers. State of Shock and Intensities in 10 Cities. I bought that at El Chopo. I think maybe those are the only two I have. Maybe there's one more. I don't remember. But so there it is, dipping my toe into the world of Ted Nugent. This is Weekend Warriors.